So I've had the Galaxy S4 on 500 for about 2 weeks, and this is what I found so far. Now, overall, I'm pretty happy with the S4, although I have come from a Galaxy Note, which is considerably old. If I was coming from a newer device, maybe the Galaxy Note 2 or the Galaxy S3, then the upgrade wouldn't be as significant as I was hoping for. So the screen size is really good, 5 inches, 1080p display. Let me just show you a movie and show you how good this looks. Okay, so I'll go into my external SD card and my media, and I'll show you Die Hard, the latest one. Okay, so 1080p display, Super AMOLED. Um, Basically, the difference between this and an LCD3 display is the blacks and the vibrancy of the colors. They certainly do look a lot better than other devices. Now, lots of people say that the colors are not realistic, and you can change them in the settings. You can change it from dynamic to movie to personalize your own sort of viewing experience. So we can see that it plays media very well because this is an MKV file and this is over 4 gig. It's a little bit hesitant when I'm trying my ear view feature when I'm trying to fast forward. But if you use Samsung Keys and you copy a file over using Samsung Keys, it'll ask you if you want to convert it. And it's probably a good idea. It'll probably come out a little bit higher, maybe twice the size, but AirView feature works really well when doing it that way. If the current device you have isn't 1080p display, then you'll definitely notice a big improvement in the quality. But one thing with Super AMOLED screens is the blacks. Now, we know that Super AMOLED powers off the black pixels, which saves a little bit of power. I mean, it's a micro amount, but it does save power. But you notice this little bar up here, there's a little bit of tearing. The black, because the blacks have turned off the pixels, and this grey here is on, if I move the bar, you can see that there's a little bit of tearing. The black needs to really power up, and it's a little bit hesitant. It doesn't happen instantly, so you can. It looks like there's a little bit of ripping in the screen. I'm not sure if that slow motion actually makes it any easier to see. Probably doesn't actually. Anyway, so that's a little bit of a drawback with the Super AMOLED screens. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the octa-core. I mean, this was hyped up by Samsung, the big. LITTLE, how the A15 architecture was superior and it could instantly kick in the A7 cores to save a lot of power. And I have noticed that the power saving of this device is really good. But what I'm going to do now is run a benchmark test. And I know our device really isn't going to sit at full peak CPU power for more than a couple of seconds at most. But what I want to show you here now is at the top left of my screen, I've got an application running that shows the core usage and the temperature. So if I zoom in and you can have a look at the temperature, it's hitting around 100 degrees. Now I know this is maxing the CPU out for about 20 seconds, 30 seconds here, and that's not normal for your device. It just won't do that. But it is a bit of a worry that this CPU does hit these high temperatures. So there you go, 100 degrees now. Let me just zoom in and show you that. So 100% CPU, and that was clocked down to 95 degrees, and it suddenly goes right back down to 67, 65 degrees. But it's a little bit of a concern. Now, it's pretty obvious that this device would be the top scoring benchmarker out there at the moment. It's a little bit higher than the i9 505, which is the mainstream version, the Snapdragon 600 version. So this device is going to be a little bit better than that version. But if we compare that to, say, the Galaxy Note 2, which has the quad-core A7 architecture, The improvement isn't much. The improvement in the memory and the reading of the SD card and external SD card are actually quite significantly higher, but the CPU's it looks like only about double, and because it's a whole generation chip with 28 nanometer over 32, you'd expect it to be a lot better than that. So if you've got a Note 2, then this device wouldn't be that much of an upgrade for you. The next thing I want to talk about is the camera. Now this camera is fantastic, but 13 megapixels isn't really accurate. I mean, it is 13 megapixels, but not as we would sort of come to expect it. So we can see if we go to photo size, 13 megapixels is at a ratio of 4 to 3, and who takes pictures like that anymore? So 16 by 9, which is what most of us take pictures at, it's only 9.6 megapixels. Now, Samsung could have done a better job with that. The camera is fantastic, and I'm really happy with it. But more megapixels would just create that better clarity of image. Now we do have a few other options. We can change the resolution of the video, but if we go into settings, there's a few options in the video. We can have like slow motion and fast motion, and they work really well. Obviously, we can't do that at 1080p because we're going to have to reduce the image quality for the software to compensate for that. Yeah, so those are the three things I really wanted to talk about. Those are the three things that I find the most attractive in a smartphone, and with this device, they work really well, but obviously some, like the 13 megapixel, which kind of really isn't, and the octa-core heating up, just some things I thought you need to be aware of before you were going to make a purchase. So, thanks for watching Kiwi Tech, and I'll catch you next time.